Hello, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever we find you. Um, Firstly, just want to say thanks very much for joining me today. I know you're all very busy, and it's much appreciated. So, I suppose first thing to start off with is who I am. My name is Peter Asigbetse, and I'm a principal in Avantra's engineering team. And that basically means I'm one of the people responsible for developing our new functionality and listening to requests that comes from customers like you or yeah, basically anyone that's interested in Avantra in terms of what can we do to bring new different functionality to the product. So that's what I get involved with. Um, just as a short intro to me in terms of a background is I've been working with SAP 20 years. Um, I'm mainly involved in the development area and specialized in integration, EDI, iDocs, workflow, and that kind of thing. So that's my background. So what am I here to talk to you today about? Well, I mean, the whole thing is actually about how Avantra can be a platform to help enable your SAP hyperautomation journey. And if you, my goal really for today is if you come away with an awareness of how we can be used as a platform, then that's actually a successful session for me. And I'll pass my details at the end of the session, and you're free to contact me and if you want to discuss anything further. Okay, so right, I suppose the next question then is, well, I mean, what is SAP? Well, what's hyper automation? Because especially in the manufacturing industry, where automation has been, like, well, manufacturing industries pioneered automation. You can't have any production lines without automation. So what's different? What's this hyper automation business that everyone's kind of talking about, and why is it different? Why is it important? Okay, so I started with Gartner because I think they probably came up with the term, and this is their definition of it. Okay, it's one of their top strategic trends for 2022, and there's quite a lot of words there. But my view and my team's view on this is actually what it is it's more of a holistic approach to increasing automation using a list of existing automation technologies, such as we see listed below, and AI, machine learning, RPA, BPM. They're probably a lot of the ones that everyone's familiar with. But I suppose what makes things different is with this whole hyper automation slant is it's not just about the technologies that we're doing traditionally. It's also incorporating organizational and cultural change to adopt a different approach to how you design processes, operating procedures, and the end-to-end product really is you can start enabling teams, departments to look at rapid adoption of automation opportunities and to just take that away and run with it. And the whole idea of automation is, we're basically looking at decreasing costs, increasing productivity, capacity, and efficiency. And that's not just the efficiency of, let's say, your production line. It's actually the efficiency of your people, your teams, because if you can free them up from doing a lot of the repetitive tasks, then you can actually use them and that extra time that you've saved to then look at innovating. And what are we trying to get to? We're trying to grow our businesses. We're trying to use the innovations and dare I say it, or to see if we can automate more and get more opportunities. So that's that's where the whole hyper automation comes from, and then that's our view of it. So I mean, where does I suppose where does it kind of come to mind within Avantra in terms of like how we support this and what we do? Well, with automation, we get an increase in technology, but also our landscapes become a lot more complex. Okay, and we start going like it's not uncommon now. Everyone's got maybe hybrid landscapes. Especially on a manufacturing line, we use a lot of sensors, so Internet of Things. That's all pretty standard, and that's great because that's what's driving innovation. But at the same time, that means that our potential risks to any downtime could be increased. And we already know that within a manufacturing environment, it's a very resource, people, times sensitive environments. So we need to try and minimize that downtime, even mitigate it if we can. Okay, because downtime has financial costs, costing people. So there's always so many hours teams can get called out to come and try and solve a problem. And how long is it going to take to try and do that root cause analysis? Okay, but also I suppose with that downtime, it's not just the potential costs in terms of finance and people, but then you're all trying to drive forward your innovation projects, your automation, trying to move to smarter factories, in industry 4.0. Okay, so in order to actually support this innovation, we need to tools that can help us enable this. So I suppose how can this downtime, potential downtime, let's say, manifest itself? Let's give like 3 different kind of examples. So it could be something technical, simple bug. It happens. Do we need a security patch, a kernel upgrade? Could be something physical. We've suddenly started up in production, and machines are being used more than they normally are used. Start getting some overheat. How's that manifest itself? Could be a decrease in performance. Suddenly CPU goes up, or response times for, let's say, remote calls are going up. And then thirdly, which is very topical over the past couple of years, it could be market driven. So, we've all had various stories from our time during the past 2 years of the pandemic, and it could have been that actually, we've actually upped production, which could be good, but at the same time, it could actually be a problem, because if our whole landscape isn't geared up or agile enough to kind of keep up and scale up, or even scale down, because some people, if you're manufacturing exercise equipment, things were kind of great for you. If you're manufacturing aircraft, maybe not so. So it's having that flexible infrastructure that you can actually keep going despite the challenges. And where does the automation piece kind of like come into that, and how do we at Avantra look at being able to enable your whole kind of automation piece in an environment like this? Well, I mean, here we've kind of got, let's say, the some of the 3 pillars of operations. And for those of you that are Avantra customers, you may be sort of familiar with this. For those of you that aren't, so we've got being able just to observe what's going on. So normally we've kind of got the traditional, okay, we log on to system X, Y, and Z. We check this, check our short dumps, our queues, iDocs, you name it. So, well, Avantra as a platform in terms of helping enable automating this is you've got some standard best practice out of the box checks, intelligent system detection, and extensible framework. So, you don't have to tell it that actually this is an MII system that you're connected to. It's clever enough to determine that. Okay, it's an MII system. So I'll give you some standard checks because that sits on Java. Okay, but I've got some specific out of the box checks for MII, looking at long running transactions, data schedulers, etc. So already we're saving times, which can be better applied somewhere else. And especially, depending on how many instances you've got, that time can be multiplied. Then the next phase of this is intelligent engagement. I'm calling this intelligent because you've got, at its simplest form, there's traffic light system. Okay, so you'll see your checks. Green, it's okay, don't need to worry about it. Amber, yep, it's a warning. We need to look at that. Red, critical, need to look at that. But combine that with customizable thresholds, okay, which are going to be specific to your environment, then suddenly you start getting a bit more intelligence there of actually we're starting getting CPU usage hitting a certain threshold. So do we need to do anything? Well, if it's a warning, we might decide not to, or we may just deprioritize it. If it hits the critical threshold, then we want to look at it straight away. And final bit, just that I mentioned there, the intelligent classification. So that can be, well, we've got one check which is coming up as a warning. Okay, so yeah, that's a medium priority. Second check, which is a separate check, which can also come up as a warning. That can also be a medium. But if you get them both together, the combination of the two can actually be something critical. So that's where the extra intelligence is built in there. And again, this is just something that once customized will just happen in the system. Again, time saving. And then come to the final piece, which is action. So what do you do? So we're all used to notifications, but you've got lots of different channels there, even pages, which yes, they're still around. But integration, if you're a ServiceNow user, got an integration to that. And then we've got automations. Now, those of you that have been using Avantra, I think will have been familiar with automations, and if not, then I think it's something that you should start looking at because it's actually very useful. But we've now kind of developing or brought in a new enhanced automation engine, and as part of that, we're bringing like a lot more content, and it's going to be a lot more powerful. So you've now got the intelligent engagement. You can have a notification, and you can have an issue where you can link it. The final goal is link it to an automation and let that get fixed. So give you a scenario. For example, if you have a certain job that keeps on timing out. Now, if this is something that's consistent and it actually needs more time, what could the issue be? It could be, okay, we need to set one of the parameters for work process runtime. We need to up that. So we could actually go through and spend some time doing some root cause analysis and try and figure stuff out. And then actually, yeah, I need to change these parameters. Or, in terms of like being able to try and automate this, how about trying to have a check, okay, which will hit a certain threshold of, okay, right, we're getting timeout. So then can we link that to an automation to then go and maintain one of these kernel parameters? And luckily, like for example, the word process runtime, I'm pretty sure that's a parameter where you don't need to restart the system. So you're not having to get users off and do a restart. But all that functionality is there. So I suppose where I'm coming from with this, and I know it's brief, but it's just trying to explain this is how Avantra as a platform can be an enabler to your hyper automation goals, because part of this is having processes and equipment and technology as a base layer, so you can actually just go on and start innovating and start looking for your different automation opportunities, rather than actually having to spend a lot of time and a lot of people hours trying to focus on, maybe it's keeping the lights on. So I've got this example here where we actually, this is from a global automotive manufacturer, and just to sort of show the power of, you know, the AI ops platform. So they had like serious production issues, and part of the problem, and I'm sure, I'm sure everyone's familiar that trying to find the root cause analysis is something that can take up quite a bit of time. And so this issue that they had, production delays could cost minimum of like 30,000 euros per minute, and that's not including actual personnel time. So, you know, using Avantra, and it's using Avantra, they managed to use a whole lot of standard checks, and also you've got custom checks, which you can kind of configure and customize as you need to solve the problem. But also, actually, once you've got those, it enables you to be proactive. So it's almost like you know, preventative maintenance that you do on the manufacturing line. It's okay. We see certain trends, so we're gonna you know, we're gonna have certain checks set up, and we will notify someone that, okay, I'm seeing a trend here, so I would like to do something. Like for example, mentioned potential, let's say, uh, you know, CPU CPU is going way up, is a potential machine overheating, so that we want to change that. Yeah. So, and I suppose another another example of sorry, and another example of where the platform was actually kind of like used in order to just help uh, people gain time and focus on their automation goals, was an electronics manufacturer where they had a complex landscape with core ERP in their EU data center and interfaces to third party, which were printer interfaces to various global places. So if that process stopped, then production in some of their Asian plants would completely stop. So what was actually sort of set up there is using a whole bunch of logic, custom and standard checks, is a lot of preventative measures in terms of checking various logs, HTTP services, and making sure that all that is running. And if any sort of like discrepancies are seen, that's actually someone gets notified and can go specifically to what needs fixing, rather than trying to go and search for the problem and then going through a whole root cause analysis. Okay, so I realize I've kind of talked at you for a while, but that's actually all I want to say, because this was a pretty brief presentation, but I'm hoping that you've at least come away with an understanding of what Avantra can do in terms of being a enabler to hyper automation. And it's not just about keeping the lights on. It's not just about SAP even, although I mean that's the bread and butter for everyone. But it doesn't matter. I mean, your landscape is complex. You've got various sort of cloud services now, and it can be a file server, web dispatcher, and as long as that is actually taken care of, you can now start benefiting from the additional time that you can get to actually move forward with your own specific hyper automation projects. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. And if anyone does want to reach out and contact me, my details are there. You can also find me on LinkedIn. It's Peter Asigbetse. The name will is pretty unique, so you should be able to get me. But thank you very much for your time.